Can you give a user pick demonstration? He doesn't know when to press the button. So he holds down LB. So let's show you what this does, actually. Let's show you kind of what Mangus is doing. So Le'Veon Bell's route, okay? Mm-hmm. So I'm using Le'Veon Bell's route. Mm-hmm. I'm going to hold down LB at the snap of the ball and not touch the left stick in any way.
Okay.
So he automatically covers them by using something called defensive assist.
Right.
Now, that's a tough route. So give me Le'Veon Bell on a curl because we can demonstrate it a little bit easier. But so here's Roberts. Let me find a way to get cover two man. There you go. So I'm going to hold down LB and not push anything. Ready, go. So he'll track him, and then he'll cover and play his assignment how the computer would play it if you weren't controlling the guy.
Right.
So it's defensive assist. It's a pretty good way to learn how to take a good first step against certain stuff. So cover two sync if I'm in a vertical hook and I'm right here and I hold LB, go. I'm going to drop to that spot.
It sort of takes away your user ability, but it makes you, like, it'll get you in the right position where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then, like, maybe it's your responsibility then to break out of it. But it's going to put you where you're supposed to be.
So I would not recommend using LB after the first 2 seconds that a play occurs. So I'm going to go to cover two sync here. Mm-hmm. You're going to try and throw to Ladarius Green once he breaks. So I'm going to be here. Maybe I'm sending some pressure off the right edge, and I'm going to stand there with Roberts.
Okay.
So at the snap, I'll tell you what I'm doing. Ready? LB, 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 LB. I'm good. Off, off, off. Nothing, 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 nothing. Hold Y. So some people go, well, I like to hold ball hawk from the start of the snap. And I'll do that as well. So I'm not holding LB anymore. I'm going to hold ball hawk from the start of the snap, but nothing else. Ready? Go.
Okay.
So I'm holding ball hawk, but it's not tracking me. So it used to actually kind of help get you in better position. And it does once the ball's in the air. I think people exaggerate heavily when they hold ball hawk. I've been holding ball hawk since 1949, bro. Never stopped. Never stopped holding ball hawk.
I'm still holding it. At night, I'm still holding down the Y.
I just keep my controller because the next snap, I'm going to get it. So come back across the middle here. I personally don't hold the button. And I got to get there and then hold Y. So I'll tell you when I'm going to hold Y, right? So throw to 17 again. So I'm going to user green. So it all depends on your defense, Mangus. It all depends on your defense, right? So what's going to beat me quick and early is a drag to green. From this formation, like a drag to green might beat me early. But then what's going to beat me late is a throw to Rodgers in the seam. So at the snap of the ball, I'm going to go here, run away with it, and then I'm going to try and get back to the middle. Right there, I tried to strafe, which is L trigger.
And Roberts isn't the best.
That's tough to do. Yeah, can we get a better user defender? Can we get Jamie Collins? What if the Pats could get a guy like Jamie Collins?
No, he's not in the team.
So the reason I don't want to hold LB personally is because I know where I'm going. And unless my guy's on a specific spot I want to get him to that I can't user him to, I want to take away other stuff. So I don't hold LB at all. I think it's good for initial players.
Right.
All right? Then, let's see.
Get there, and then drop.
But that's more where you want to be, is where Dante Hightower is. You don't want to be where I was early, where I knew where you were throwing and I overran the throw, right? Because if I get too far past Rodgers, so watch this, like, I need to be underneath Rodgers to get the pick. That's why so many people like Anthony Barr. They like tall users.
Yeah.
So at the snap, I'm going to run to green, but I'm going to overuser Rodgers. Ready? Okay. So I'm too far.
Yep.
Like, it's way too hard. So what you want to do instead is time it up so that you have a tall receiver underneath. Watch the drag to green, get back underneath from Rodgers, and then be in the best position and start holding Y when Ben throws it. So go.
Okay, took that away. So now I kind of do that.
And hold Y. So did you see when I held Y? Like right as you threw it, I was in. That's the key position you want to be in. It's
underneath the circle.
Underneath, always. Prime position. And if I held LB right here, I couldn't flash to the drag. I couldn't flash to that drag if I was holding LB. So I don't want to hold LB, even though I think it's a good beginner tactic and depends on the play. Like I almost have to like slow myself down because I don't want to overrun
underneath it because that's what's going to allow you to play the ball before they play the ball.
But if you're running a lot of crossers, so give me Green on a drag and Rodgers on a slant. and you're doing this a lot, what I'll do is I'll strafe with high tower, because if I know I don't have to get vertical, then I know I can strafe. And so I'll hold down L trigger at the snap.
And then drop.
And then drop, and then drop. And that was bad, not
you didn't
following.
Drop with left depth.
I didn't follow. Rogers had bad, these
Can you
LBs
talk
tough.
about what makes a good user now? Because like a couple guys
good user defender?
Good user defender. What makes a good user defender? Guys in the chat say who's a good people to user.
Speed, height, 3 best. Bud Dupree, number 2. Anthony Barr, number 1. Shazier, number 3, because of his speed and his
Sean
jump,
Taylor.
even though he's only 6 foot tall. Sean Taylor's a good user. You definitely want to use it with a linebacker. Generally an MLB. Definitely could be an OLB. Doesn't really matter if you're playing him in an MLB. But I don't recommend like user in a hot hands, strong safety. Like I just don't think it's worth it because I don't drop a lot of interceptions, so I don't really want to go to hot hands where I got to user that guy every play. But a guy like Odell Beckham or Mike Evans at safety, that's out of position, you could user them too. But I do prefer height because it makes up ground for you. Do you know what I mean? Like they got to have some height.
Yeah, the height. What the height will do, what makes it more important to have it for a really good user defender, it increases your ability to get underneath the ball. It gives you a wider range. Like I'm gonna run a drag to green.
Okay, you want me to stand in the line?
Actually, I'm gonna run a drag.
Did you see the pick that?
I'm gonna run a slant to Rogers.
Yeah.
So go stand. I'm gonna throw it like at that left hash. So where do you want to just visually show where you'd want to have your user defender, but to get the interception?
So show your play art. So I would stand like here, and I'm 5 yards ahead of the thing.
That's where you want to be to get the pick.
Right.
But the way that you can't stand there, because here's the problem: at the snap of the ball, if you know the slant's coming, you can't just stand there and go, "Oh, he's gonna throw it," because you're not gonna have any momentum. You're not gonna be able to get out of that position.
Yeah, you don't have a big window.
You need to track this. You need to track the slant. And you want the receiver to be about so if the routes are going right to left, you want the receiver to be about a yard to the left of your user at all times, and you always want there to be maybe about 4 to 5 yards of depth between you and the receiver for slants.
Yeah.
So if you were to draw your so you see the slant to Rogers, if you were to draw the user defender's angle, it would go try and track it.
Ready? So I would flash I'd flash to green.
Yeah.
And then I'd go there, and I'd go like that.
Yes.
But I'm actually too close to the line.
Too close. Right.
I'd be more
but it's okay. Yeah.
I'd be more like.
You want to track. You want to track with the same depth as the slant, and because if you were to go to that left hash.
Yeah.
And if you were to just go directly horizontal, stop. Right there, it's too far. Now, the pass lead's going to go too far up. Yeah. You're not going to get the animation. But the taller you are, the bigger that window is. So that's why,
And I'm holding Y as the second I see you about to throw it. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Yeah.
So you want to, and routes have different. All routes have a different trajectory of how you want to play them for a user pick. So, for example, now we just showed the slant of how the position you want. Okay, let's show me the positioning with green now. So you're not going to pick the ball anywhere in between that box.
And I know you're not going to throw it.
Throw it there because it's going to be muddy.
Yeah.
Throw it away.
So you might throw it at the quick. I might get here.
Yeah.
Then I might go here, and then the flat route is going to pick it up. So I'm never really going to.
But if you're going to get a pick on this, where are you going to get the pick?
It's going to be
where's the area? Where's
literally right here.
It's literally right there.
Yeah.
And that requires an aggressive attack. Right. Aggressively attack it. Okay. Let's go to the next route. Okay. Green. This post.
So
where are you going to pick it? A lot of it also has to do with is the timing of when guys throw routes too.
Right.
So I'm not I'm never going to throw the ball on the right hash. Where the right hash meets the route, who's throwing that ball to green?
Nobody.
When
so I don't even
have
to cover it. So I would look for Le'Veon Bell.
Right.
And then I would drop
crosser.
from this position, and then I would go there.
Again, see how you're fading with the angle, and you're about 4 to 5 yards underneath it.
Right.
Okay. Let's go to. Here, let's go to the deep end to green this time. Okay, how are you going to user that route?
So deep end is very tough because I think it's going to be a corner. Mm-hmm. So I go
correct, vertical stem
here, and then if it's not a corner, what I want to do is keep all my momentum. So at the snap, so once I realize But
you like do a circle. It's tough.
so
to
he's
do it not
auto
play.
strafe. So call this play. So I'm gonna think it's a corner. So like probably a corner, probably a corner, probably a corner. Not a corner. Gotta get here. Gotta get here. Gotta get.
But see,
there.
again,
Right.
you are underneath it in that
Right.
spot. So, and that route was going horizontal. So there's a difference there with the routes that would go vertical, like a slant is going vertical, and like a drag is horizontal. The difference between those is that when you have a route that goes vertical, you want your opponent's route. You want to be trailing it by about a yard between the relationship to the receiver and you, because that's the angle of the throw to the quarterback is cut off more because they're running vertically. Whereas it's horizontal, you want to be in front of it because the angle of the quarterback can lead them more. So look at the perfect position you had here. So watch, look, you're about a yard.
And I strafe.
You're about a yard. Really, you are. You're about a good yard, maybe 2 yards in front of where that route is going, and you're about 4 yards in front of it.
Yeah.
Right. So snap of the ball, and then they throw it, and you hung on that position while it was being thrown, and then you get the ball hawk animation.
Right. Where if I don't strafe, so if they're running horizontally across the line, then I want to strafe because they don't run that fast.
Correct.
And I can follow it.
Cut.
If they're running like a slant, though, I want to run and not necessarily strafe until I think they're going to throw it. So the post on the right,
Totally different animal.
I don't want to cover it until the ball gets thrown.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want to cover it until way later. So hike it.
You also don't want to cover it from right to left.
Correct.
You're not going to get animations
Correct.
off it. You want to cover it left to right.
Correct. So hike it. So I'm looking at the end. Oh, I see it's Z spot. I got to get there.
Like that's when you
Right.
have to go back across. When you're going from right to left defending Z spot, you're not going to get the animation. You need to come from left to right. So maybe you're going to cover green here, right?
Right. But I got to know that route's happening.
Know it's
Ooh,
coming,
I see it.
And then
coming.
see how you're going. That's when you get the animation there. If you had a better user. Now you're coming from left to right on it, and you're vertically attacking.
You're meeting the ball carrier.
It's a very different. Every route has a different way you want to defend it.
Because you're never gonna like go here with Jones, call Z spot again or the post.
Yeah.
Like this is not how you use her. Like
yeah.
Like if I had to strafe this and then track it, it's too hard.
Right at that point of when you saw your guy kind of freak out, that's the part that you're going to get lost on, because what happens is the pass lead that you get is greater than how quickly you can move with your defender there, right?
Right.
Take a look, right? So you're kind of in good position, if that was an in or something, but look where the pass lead puts the ball. The pass lead puts the ball about 7 to 8 yards to the left there, and you can't hang on that with your momentum because you're going right to left. You got to come from left to right and meet at the point where the ball's being thrown.
Yeah.
So
good stuff. Vertical, just put green on a streak maybe. I'll see if I can.
Tough to pick.
Tough to pick. You're in the line
as they're downfield.
You're strafing, and you're waiting. You're just trying to get there. So those are some routes you can use her on This Week in Madden. Good breakdown. Good question. Hopefully it helps. Less LB as you get better. More Y, but not until right at the snap. And knowing the defense, knowing where you're weak, knowing where you're supposed to go, knowing the formations of what routes like to come out of what positions and what plays they might call really helps your user game. And then just making sure to get as down as possible on the throw. Mm-hmm. Ball, don't get nervous about a ball going over your head. It doesn't really happen all that much if you're close. You can make a lot more plays that way. All right, next mailbag question. This one is from Big Slow 17. Gibbs, how can the Patriots defensive book be used? So